and laid out. You need to plan to operate on a margin. You need to plan to spend less than you make, to spend less than you get. If you don't, you're really presuming on God's grace and on His patience, hoping He'll overlook your irresponsibility and continue to meet your need. And you can be careful and plan thoughtfully and gain a measure of financial self-control. I would say this is absolutely crucial in our culture. Most of you work and you earn a good wage, good enough to live and enjoy some of the things in life. Most of you probably try to save for your future so that you can secure your life in the days when you're unable to work. But the question is, do you really exercise carefully thought out financial self-control? Do you really get control of your life, or are you just reeling all over the place, spending money like a drunk sailor on leave without regard for the implications of it? Beware of that. David said, keep your servant back from presumptuous sins. That's appropriate. People get themselves into that position where if they have it, they consume it, and then they demand that God extricate them, leaving no cushion for the unforeseen future. You can imagine how many couples have followed the great American dream, which is to buy things you don't need with money you don't have from people you don't even like. And then have more obligations than you have income. And then when it comes time for you to support the church, you can't do it. And when it comes time for you to get involved in missions, you can't do it. Or maybe the Lord wants to call you to serve Him somewhere else and you can't do it because you're bound so much financially. You get yourself in so deep you can't do what God wants you to do. I believe He wants you to have enough and more than enough. He wants you to have enough for now and for later and for investing in His kingdom and for following the opportunities that He puts before you to do those special things that are called for, meeting the needs of those around you when they have those needs. And in order to do that, Proverbs 27, 23 and 24 says this, know well the condition of your flocks, pay attention to your herds, for riches are not forever. Take careful stock of your condition. Do some wise planning. Know where you stand. Know your condition. Another translation of that is excellent. Any enterprise is built by wise planning, becomes strong through common sense, and profits wonderfully by keeping abreast of the facts. You need to exercise financial self-control. Never, I don't suppose, in the history of the world has that been more difficult than in the day in which we live, for a number of reasons. One is you and I are absolutely and incessantly bombarded and blasted by appeals for us to buy things. It's endless. In fact, you think television exists for the programs. It doesn't. It exists for the commercials. The programs are there to attract you to the commercials. The television networks pay money out to the programmers. They take money in from the commercials. So the people who put the commercials on have to gain that money back by getting you to buy the product. The whole thing is a huge scheme to get you to buy all the stuff that is advertised there. The newspapers are there because they want you to be drawn into the paper so that you will read, no, so that you will buy. I mean, I'm astounded at how much of the newspaper now are huge commercials for everything from department store furniture sales and stereo to all kinds of other things that have to do with your beauty and your exercise and the body beautiful and all that's in between. So we are literally bombarded by that. We are also told about image, and we are made to believe that there's a certain image to be developed by where you live and what you drive and what you wear and all of that. And we all sort of get sucked up in that. I mean, you've never seen a commercial for a car that said, this is a good car. It runs good. The motor works well. The wheels are very strong. The tires are good. The seat is very comfortable. You will like this car. It will get you where you're going in a certain amount of safety and comfort. That isn't how they do it. They put some beautiful girl on there, some wild music on there, and it says nothing about the car. You don't know anything about the car. In fact, they usually give you a blurred picture of the car or a distorted picture. You don't know what it looks like. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a certain car. We talked about the fact that you can enjoy things, but I'm saying the way things are sold has nothing to do with their reliability, nothing to do with their safety. I'm happy to have a fairly heavy car that has airbags all around it because I carry people around. I don't mind going to heaven, but I'd like not to go any sooner than I have to. And I'd like also to at least stand here and be tolerable to look at and not be scarred by some car accident. If God sees fit, I'll take precautions, and so will you, and that makes sense to do that. But the system bombards us. Now compound that with the fact that we can buy almost anything out there without any money, without the ability to buy it. For merchants, taking credit cards is smart business. Even though they have to pay a percentage of what they get to the card company, it is smart business because you spend as much as 80% more than you would spend if you were operating on a cash basis or a check basis, unless you believe like one lady who said, I can't understand how I overdrew my account. I have so many checks left in my checkbook. But if you're beyond that comprehension, you understand the checks really are cash that you have, you'll spend up to 80% more than if you were paying cash. Cards are faster than checks. The process is easy and quick, and you ring up your interest easily. 70% of cardholders carry balances, huge balances. Just staggering amounts of money. Now, credit card experts say that once you get $800 in debt, they've got you for life. Because the average American family cannot get rid of an $800 debt because they live at the level of their income. Amazing. And the typical American carries 9 credit cards. Count them after church. And owes over $2,000 in debt at 18% interest. That's a form of slavery, folks. It really is. It is a form of slavery. Proverbs 22:7 says, the borrower is servant to the lender. You're a slave to your creditor. You're a slave to your credit card company. It's a sad situation. God wants you to plan well enough so that doesn't happen. And get a little financial self-control. Spend less than you make, and you'll enjoy the privilege of giving. Paul in 1 Corinthians 7:23 said, you are bought with a price. Do not be the slaves of men. Don't become somebody's slave. Don't become the slave of the credit card company because you can't control yourself. You should always be free enough to respond to whatever God would want you to do at any time without being held back by financial